Hi everyone, so today is a course on Japanglish. What for question de linguistique A4MG, and I wanted to talk to you about Japanglish because it's a really good example of how two languages that come into contact, and when one language is imported into another language, such as English is imported into Japanese, several changes are made based on certain phonetic rules that Japanese has. So this is called phonotactic rules. Phonotactic rules. I'm just going to write this down. And which means that certain phonemes in a syllable can or cannot be combined. Or cannot, or it's actually how the phonemes in a syllable are arranged. Hello everyone, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about Japanglish. I'm not really interested in Japanese proper for this course. What I'm really interested in is how, for you to have a look at how when two languages come into contact and one language like English is imported into another one, such as Japanese, English is going to be transformed based on certain rules that come from the Japanese language. So what we're interested in today is phonotactics. So phonotactics is a little bit like the grammar of phonemes. How phonemes, if phonemes are combinable or if they're not within one syllable. So it's called phonotactic constraints or phonotactic rules. And I'm just going to read these. They're restrictions concerning the ways in which syllables can be created in a language. So in French, you can have lots of different types of syllables. So you can have just a, ami. So you'd have the a is the only. You have two syllables, a and mi. For the first syllable, you just have the vowel on its own. And for the second syllable, you have M plus E. But if we have things like pacte, we have only one syllable, but it's very heavy. It's got P, a consonant at the beginning. Let me type it. Donc, pacte. So you have, in French, you have ami, a. Oh, wait, I need to change my keyboard. Ami, you have a, mi. And then, what else did I say? Pacte. You have only one syllable, but you have a P at the beginning, and then the vowel, and then a C, a consonant, and another consonant, and a mute E. In some languages, this kind of flexibility to build a syllable is not possible. In English is quite close to French in the sense that you've got things like packed as well. People have just packed. You can have things like structure. So structure. So quite complex syllables. But in Japanese, a lot of the time, they will prefer things like, so let's have a look at to, your, ta, for example. You'll generally have T, a vowel, for example, a glide, and a vowel, a consonant, and a vowel. This is typical in many, many languages. So what Japanese is going to do is going to take this huge, super heavy syllable and it's going to re-syllabify it based on this principle. Consonant, vowel, consonant. Okay. So what you'll do is maybe you'll do something like S, U, which is the typical vowel that you will use when you reconstruct a syllable, rebuild the syllables. Because U in Japanese is not like U in French. It's more like U, a bit like a schwa. It sounds a little bit like a schwa. So, and in some cases in Japanese, it becomes dropped, nearly dropped. So the behavior of that vowel is the closest that Japanese has to S plus T. So, okay. So let's have a look at how things are resyllabified in Japanese. Okay. So one thing you need to learn is that this is not really based on the syllable, but it's based on phonetics. So L and R, and L does not exist in Japanese. Okay, so if you have an L, you will resyllabify. Not resyllabify. You'll just change it into an R. Okay, something like a R, but not like Spanish. Not like Spanish. So not R or R. So think very short. Okay. So if I say a rule, you'll have something like something like that. If I say ball, you'll have something like bo. Okay. Turn the L into an R. Now, what I just did, I resyllabified certain elements. So let me show you how words are resyllabified in Japanese. So let's grab our list from here. So this one is good. Glass. Okay, glass. What you have is the G, L, so two consonants. This does not really work. So what we need to do is take the G, add a U, la voyelle fourre-tout. L does not exist, so just un and a, space. And then you just have the S at the end like that. So this doesn't work. So I think you can hear my neighbour who comes out from work and he just keeps singing. It's so powerful. He's outside. And then S plus U. Gresu. Okay, gresu. Let's have a look at the other one. Okay, idle. Idle. Okay. So in this course, the only diphthong that is allowed is I. Okay. So think about the egotistic I. Only I is okay in Japanese in this course. Okay. I'm not going to go deep into, I'm not going to go into details. But just keep in mind that I is okay. So you can just keep it. And then do, that's fine. And then L becomes R. And then you need a vowel, aidoru. Okay. Now let's go a little bit deeper. Some people, it depends on how you look at Japanese. You have some kind of an intermediate stage between a syllable, a phone, and a phoneme, which is called mora. So Japanese works more in terms of mora. So for this course, I'm not really going to talk about this, but the only elements that can be here in coda, what we call in coda of a syllable, so at the end of the syllable, is N. Okay, N is a special case. So if I have So you have the Portuguese word pain, le pain, pan. In Japanese, it's pan. The N is okay here. If I have something like end, I'm going to resyllabify as that's okay. And then we'll see later. What else do we have here? Control panel. Okay, let's have a look. Ko, control panel, control. Let's have that. So ko, I'm allowed to have the N here. Kon. This is something we need to check. Kon. We have the ro here, ro. And then L, which becomes A plus U. Kon, ruri. For the question marks, we need to go a little bit deeper into the course to know what to do. What else do we have? Fried chicken, chicken. Okay, chicken. Chicken. You have chi, ki, and then you're allowed to have the N. Chicken. Okay. N. Okay, in coda of a syllable. Coda means end. Okay, so let's just show you this. Coda. Alors, est-ce qu'on a... Non. Okay. Just to show you this. So you have the... Okay, let's use this one. You have the... Est-ce que ça va changer? Okay, so generally in English, you have the syllable. This is how it works. And then at the beginning, you have the onset, and it's usually 1 or 2 syllables. K for cat, s, k for skin. And then you have what we call the rhyme, which starts where the vowel starts. And the vowel is actually the nucleus. So, for example, in English, you can have, and in French as well, you can have, so French, a, mi. If you take out the onset and the coda and everything, what is left is the nucleus, the vowel. So I for idle, for example. I and then dul. So 2 syllables. Rhyme, within the rhyme you have the nucleus, and sometimes you can have something in coda, and it's, for example, T. It's after the vowel, a, and then or an N. So if you, based on this view of looking at phonotactic, this school of looking at phonotactics, you can have a look at Japanese through this view about syllable structures. In this little leaflet or this little handout, they mention these syllables. So hang on, let me have a look. Okay, so for example, you can have pan. They have the onset, which is a P, the nucleus, which is A, and then the coda, which is N. Okay. So they say the coda consonant is dominated by a mora, which is something I mentioned before. Okay. Let's just keep on moving. Okay. And then you have just very typical syllable structures here. Consonant, vowel, consonant, vowel. This is the onset, this is the nucleus. This is the onset, this is the nucleus. Okay. And if you go a little bit higher, so it's not just the nucleus, it's also the rhyme. If it's on its own, it's also the rhyme and the nucleus. if you have things like that. Okay, so this is